Hello friends, welcome to this program on computer architecture and organization. The main objective of this course is you are going to learn about how computer works, what are the basic principles behind the computer, how to analyze the performance of computer, how the computers are generally designed and built. So these are the main objective of the subject we are going to learn. So the agenda of the lecture 1 is just going to give some brief introduction about the computer and generation of computer, what are the functional units inside the computer. So first, what is computer? So we are very much familiar about a computer. The computer is an electronic machines which get an input and instruction from the user, then it will perform some operation on an input and produce an output. So the computer is nothing but a machine. It will get input from the user, then it will do some operation based on the instruction and it will produce an output. In computer, it is derived from the Latin word. Meaning of the computer is compute. Computer is nothing but it has to do some operation. So it is also called as a calculation machine. The computer system has so many number of peripheral devices, softwares are there. So these are the general operation of the computer. First, the user has to give the input. So the processor will get the input from the user. So we are in need of one input device such as the keyboard, mouse, scanner, or digital camera. Using this one, the user will give the input. It will goes to the processor. The processor is a brain of the computer. It will perform operations on the data. Then once it performs the operation, it will give the data either in a monitor or in a printer, or we are going to store the data in a computer or in some external storage device like floppy, pen drive and CD disk. So next we see the history of computer. So abacus, Pascaline, step reckoner or the called as a 0th generation of the computer. So these three are called as a 0th generation of the computer. Before 1500 years, European people performed calculation using abacus slate. We are very much familiar about the abacus slate. Our children are using the abacus slate to perform all the calculation. So later on, in 1642, the French mathematician invented a mechanical calculator called Pascaline. So after that, in 1671, the German mathematician Gottfried von Leibniz developed a step reckoner. It was an extended version of the Pascaline. So using this one, we can perform a multiplication, division, square root operation, etc. So the main thing about these abacus, the Pascal and step reckoner are called as a 0th generation. These machine did not have a memory. So each and every step, the human intervention is needed. In 1822, the Charles Babbage, the famous English mathematician, built a difference engine, but he did not complete the design. Charles Babbage is called as the father of the computer or father of the computing. So this device was developed after his death only. It's the generation of computer. It is generally classified into 5 generation or 6 generation level. 6th generation. The 0th generation is a mechanical calculator. So the example for the mechanical calculator is abacus, Pascaline, step. In that mechanical calculator, it does not have a memory. The 2nd generation is a vacuum tube computer. The computers are built using a vacuum tubes and valves. So the size of the computer is very big and power dissipation also very high in the generation 1. Later on, the generation 2, the vacuum tube is replaced by a transistor. Then the 3rd generation is integrated circuit. So here the transistors are replaced by the IC, that is called as an integrated circuit. The integrated circuit is nothing but more number of electronic components are integrated inside one single chip. So the technology is the small scale integrated and medium scale integrated circuit they used to build the computer. Generation 4 is microprocessor, that is very large scale integrated circuit. So here the number of transistors integrated into the IC is very more compared to the third generation. Then fifth generation is ultra large scale integrated circuit. So these are the just overview of the generation of computer. In the first generation, the technology what we used is vacuum tube, but the size of the vacuum tube is very big size. There is one building size. The second generation, the vacuum tube is replaced by a transistor. The size of the computer was filled off your room. The third generation, they use that integrated circuit. The integrated circuit is nothing but so many transistors are integrated into a single chip. The size of the computer is reduced, that is in a smaller size. Then the fourth generation is a microchip. The millions of transistors are built integrated inside the IC. The size of the computer is very small, tiny. Palm Pilot is a powerful as an old building sized computer. So now we see some reflection spot. I will give you 2 questions. You just think about the questions and write in your course channel. So the first question is, what does the computer consist of? Generally, we are very much familiar about the computer. You just tell me what are the things are inside the computer. Then second question is, what is the brain of computer? So you just suppose the 2 questions, just to pause a video and write the answer for these 2 questions. Okay, I hope you written the answer in your course channel. For the first question is, what does the computer consist of? So the computer consists of CPU, input-output device, memory, etc. Next question is, what is the brain of computer? The brain of computer is called CPU. I already told you the processor only perform all the operation. Like a human being, our brain only perform all the operations. Like in computer, the CPU is called as the brain of computer. CPU means central processing unit. So next we see what are the functional units of computer. The last question is, what does the computer consist of? Nothing but what does the computer consist of? So the main functional units of computer is input unit, output unit, central processing unit, memory unit, and bus structure. So you are very much familiar about the input unit and output unit. Input unit is nothing but it will get the input from the user. Using the input unit only, the user will give input to the computer. Then output unit is nothing but once the CPU performed all the operation, it will display the output to the user. Either it will display the output to the user or it will store the output result in the memory. So next one is central processing units. You know the central processing unit is brain of computer. The main important part of central processing unit is ALU and control unit. ALU is nothing but arithmetic and logical unit. It will perform all types of operation, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, logic operation like that. It will perform. Then control unit. You know the CPU is a brain of computer. The control unit is a nerve system of a computer. Nerve is nothing but like for example, you just take a human body. The brain will perform all the operations. Each and every the main function of the brain is it will control all the human body parts. Similarly, in the computer also the brain is a perform all the operations. It will control all the parts of the computer. So the control unit is nothing but it will control all the parts. Like the brain is connected to each and every component via nerves only. Similarly, in a computer, the control unit is called as a nerve of the computer. It only control all other parts of the computer. So next one is the memory. The memory is used to store the data in the computer. Next is a bus structure. Main thing about the bus structure is each and every component like input, output, CPU, memory. Each and every components are connected via bus only. It is a big picture of the computer. So the general components are processor, memory, input and output. So all these 5 components are same since 1946. Without this computer won't work. So the input unit is nothing but it will get the data from the user and then it will convert in the form of binary, then it will given to the CPU because the CPU can understand only the binary language. Examples are keyboard, mouse, joystick. Output unit, the convert once the processor perform the operation, It will give the output in the form of binary. Then the binary is converted into a human understandable language, and it will give the output to the user. Monitor, printer, LCD, LbD are the example of output unit. So next is a CPU. It is a brain of a machine. It will carry out all the computational tasks. It contains arithmetic, logic unit, control unit, and register. So arithmetic logic unit is nothing but it will perform all types of operation. Control unit is nothing but it will control each and every component in the computer to perform the execution. So the control unit is called the nerve of the computer. CPU is called the brain of the computer. Next one is a register. Register is nothing but it is a memory element inside the processor used to store the result, and then it will increase the speed of operation also. Each and every time the CPU no need to get the data from the memory. It will store the data temporarily inside the register, inside the register. So these are the top level view of the computer. So main thing is this is a processor, memory, input output unit. All these components are connected by means of using a bus. So a bus is a physical interconnection which connect each and every component of the computer. So the CPU contain memory address register, that is MAR, memory data register, program counter, instruction register, and then general purpose register, control unit, and arithmetic logical operation. Memory. So memory is nothing but it is used to store the data, result, and program. There are two classes of memory, primary memory and secondary memory. Generally the types of memory is RAM and ROM. The ROM is used to store the data and program which is not going to change. That is, ROM is a permanent one, RAM is a temporary. We are going to store the data. So our operating systems are stored in a secondary memory only. The primary memory, the temporary data are stored. So you know about the bus. Bus is a physical connection between the microprocessor, memory, and other part of the microcomputer. It is known as a bus. Generally, we are very much familiar with the bus. Bus is nothing but it will carry a person from one place to another place. Similarly, the computer, it has a bus. The bus is nothing but it only carry the information from one component to another component in the form of bits. Okay, friends. Within this. Within this I just covered the basic things about the computer. Next, I hope you will do that LbD activities, learning by doing activities. I just ask some simple questions. You try to answer for these questions. First question is, what is a physical connection between a microprocessor, memory, other part of microcomputer is known as? Then second question is the main electronic components used in what is the main electronic components used in the first generation computer. Then what is the nerve of the computer? So thank you so much for your listening. In the next video I will cover some other topics in your computer architecture and organization. Please try to attend that quiz in my Moodle course. Thank you so much for your listening.